I completely missed it. This is the first time I've ever missed it. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I have with me Emmanuel, I have Angelo, and I've got Daniel, and Julie will be joining us soon. So, yeah guys, we're going to be talking about Skeleton Crew Episode 3. But first, Angelo, we didn't have you on last week, you couldn't make it, but I need to know, what are your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew at this point in time? What was your thoughts?
I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah,
I saw I wasn't able to watch the full video because I've been pretty busy, but like I was
right.
watching your guys' like roundtable and it's like, yeah, I agree. It's very much has like that ET, like Stranger Things
Oh
vibes
yeah,
to it.
no,
Like with the
totally, totally.
score, everything, it's very like it is like very like retro, like kind of like 90s-esque, like sci-fi like score.
Yeah,
Yep.
no,
I've been loving
totally.
it. Like, yeah, the humor is like it's yeah, it is a kid show, but like it's
Yeah,
good. I like it. It's
it
fun. It's
it
like
did.
more like family like oriented, like not really just like
Yeah,
straight just for kids.
yeah, it hits all the right tropes for Star Wars too. I think
Yeah.
and even though they give us stuff that we've already kind of semi seen before, it feels right. I feel like I'm a kid again watching Star Wars. That's my personal thought process and opinion. So, what about the rest of you guys? You've got that kind of vibe?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
this is literally bringing me back to my childhood. Like I said last
yeah,
week, he's bringing me to the 90s, early 2000s. So I
yeah,
love it. I love it.
yeah. Takes me back to the '70s, early '80s.
Hey
Yeah.
man,
Okay.
hey, from what I hear, that's the best time. I ain't gonna.
It it was. It was when Star Wars was born. I mean, come on.
Literally,
I was around
literally.
when Star Wars came out in the theaters the first time around. I was a
Yeah,
kid.
man, that's you
That
lucky.
that that was the way to go. There's just so much that goes on with it. So episode 3 dropped this past week, and I need to know what were your guys' thoughts on this episode?
Should I start? I
Sure,
thought it
go
Yeah,
for
was
it.
go
man.
ahead.
I thought it was fun. I'm glad they got off the planet like in that
Yeah.
episode. But I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was fun,
Yeah.
exhilarating. I didn't know what was gonna happen next. I think what's Jude Law's character? Yeah,
Jod.
he has like Jod. He has like 10 different names. So,
Yeah.
but,
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
but
Some of those
Jod
we'll explore. Yes.
literally. But his
Yeah.
character, to me, his character
Yeah.
is so interesting. I remember last week I said that I don't think he has a
Yeah.
force, but
Mm-hmm.
now after seeing that episode, I agree with Daniel. Like he for sure is force sensitive,
Yeah.
but he's using it for like I like it. I could see
Selfish
kind of like
reasons.
Yeah, he
yeah for
uses it
selfish.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're
But
selfish, but he's using it.
but I
He's
love it
definitely
though.
Yeah.
using it.
I love
Yeah.
how he's using the force as
Uh
like
huh.
not the traditional Jedi or like
Yeah.
something like that, like we usually see. I
Hey
love
there,
it.
Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Anchorman. How you doing?
I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, me too. Angelo, what's your thoughts? Caught all of episode
Yeah,
3?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
caught up, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I like yeah, the entire like action of like it, like of
Hmm.
them escaping the prison, everything was really cool.
Yeah.
Then also, yeah, just like the entire like scene where like in their spaceship where they're hooked to the fuel line, like I really
Hmm.
loved it. And then like them escaping with a
I was
it's
like in
so
my
awesome.
reaction video, I was jumping up and down with just glee and joy. I
It was
was
just
having
it
so
was such
much
like
fun.
such a cool
It
scene. It
was
just
great. It was so cool. Daniel?
Yeah, and then I know it's an overused word at this point, but I think the one word is just fun. Like it's just pure
Yeah,
fun. It's
that's it.
fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just enjoying. It's enjoyable. It's not
Yeah.
making me sit there deep in thought, but it's just having a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think last week I said the 2 things I wanted were to see a good escape from like the prison planet, like
Yeah.
the pirate planet, and to
Mm-hmm.
see what a little bit of what was happening on Ad, and we
Yeah.
got both of those. It filled what I was
Yeah.
looking for, so I
Hmm.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it
Yeah.
thoroughly.
Yeah, my biggest fear was episode 3 was going to spend this entire time on the prison planet and make their escape at the end. I'm glad they kind of got that out of the way in the first
Hmm.
10 minutes
Yeah,
of the
literally.
episode and moved on from there. But they had some great stuff. There was a lot of cool things going on in that shipyard. There was a
Yeah,
lot
man.
of great little moments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah, the escape, the snapping of that cable was just
Dude,
so
just
much
it's
fun.
so sick.
That
Yeah.
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
did
Yeah,
damage, bro.
the ship,
That
the
thing,
mooring of the ship as it just rips apart everything.
that
was like,
wire
yeah,
did
Yeah.
damage.
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Oh, they're definitely putting a lot of like practical nautical stuff into it when you think about it. If a
Mhm.
ship breaks its moorings like that, that rope or that chain is going to just fling back
Yeah,
and
man.
do that kind of damage. And I think that was very well thought out. I thought it was very clever.
You know, one thing that I actually really loved about that episode too,
Yeah.
dude, Fern's face on Joe the whole time they're escaping. Like
Yes.
when KB, when he was just like, "Oh, stop!"
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, "Stop! Somebody's
Yeah.
coming!" And then
Yes.
KB did it, and
Yeah.
Fern's just like the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
everybody.
her just little attitude.
She's a really good actress.
I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it, bro. She
Yeah.
was on his butt, man. Like she ain't.
And
she's
I
not falling for
think
nothing.
Yeah, she was
I
taking
think-
none of his little.
Oh
Not
no,
losing
totally.
anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And she's gonna be right in the end. Hey, Ronan, how's it going?
What's up,
yeah.
Ronan?
Ronan's wrapping up on other stuff right now. He's gonna try to join us as well. which
Let's
will be cool.
go.
Back in there. Yeah. Along with that, what's some of the cool things that we had going on there? Let's jump into the beginning of the episode. So let's just start at the beginning for a second. We ended up by catching up with the parents, dealing with this very cool architecture in the house. And what are your vibes going on here? We've got the parents who are sitting down, you know, obviously concerned about the kids. The droid comes in, and it's like, you know, Wynn's father's just kind of sitting there, you know, pondering, and it's like, do we think he's pondering because he just hasn't paid enough attention to his son, or do we think there's something deeper going on there? I don't
I
know.
definitely think there's like something deeper, like especially since we see now his son has like those impulses to like go. I think he probably had something of the same too as a child.
Ooh,
then, like-
I like that.
And then like this is giving him like to probably start digging because like we have this overarching like mysterious administrator
Right.
who like they're trying to seek an audience with now.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
guessing he's
What-
probably
what
gonna
was
start digging and try to like they're trying to. So they're both kind of working on the mystery of what had added from like both sides. So like, the kids are trying to figure out how to get back home, and like the mystery of why their home doesn't exist, and then he's also
Yeah.
probably figuring out the mystery of like who the administrator is and
Yeah.
why. Like no one probably knows where or who they are.
Yeah. Do we think it's a droid? Do we think it's a human
think
or alien?
I'm-
Or
That's interesting. I'm hoping it's like a really old Republic droid.
That's what
Or-
I was getting some like
Oh,
vibes
that'd
from
be-
that too. Some like
Yeah.
I don't think so, Chris. How could I mean, really, these guys have shut themselves off from the galaxy since the Old Republic, and
Especially
as
since,
we
they
learned in
didn't
this
even-
episode,
yeah.
they didn't
Don't
even
even know
know that
Alderaan
Alderaan was
was
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
No, it's
So-
back to Civil War that they skip
Yeah.
over it. Like they don't even know
Yeah.
that.
I think this is gonna predate even the Old Republic. I mean, predate the Republic and First Order. This is gonna
Hey.
predate everything. What's up,
Yeah.
yo?
The kids are getting better. Great acting choices. I agree
Mhm.
completely. I think these kids are fantastic. And
Oh, yeah.
anybody who starts pissing on these kids, I swear to God, I'll be fighting back. You know, if everyone verbally harasses those kids, I swear to God,
Nah,
I'll
everybody,
go nuts. Yeah,
everybody everybody loves the characters,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
which is good.
yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, going back to that, because we've got these droids that are kind of policing the boundaries of this planet, and you know, there's restricted areas and this and that. I mean, obviously, this dystopian world is absolutely controlled by a hierarchy, but for what purpose and for what reason, we don't know. The ship that crashed in there, the pirate ship, is several hundred years old, it feels like. So it feels... I
Oh,
don't know.
definitely.
There's something going on between everything. I'm looking forward to that mystery being solved.
Also, like kind of like the work they're doing, because also like none of them really know what they're doing. Like all their
Yeah.
the kids is like,
Yeah.
oh, their parents is like
Yeah.
they count numbers, they do this.
They've
And it's like,
all been
what?
programmed
Like,
just
Exactly.
to do something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, totally.
It's very interesting because even I remember last week when Daniel brought up when we were talking about the barrier and how we thought it was like natural. Daniel brought up natural, and then I forget what's the owl's character's name again. I'm so bad.
Kim.
Yeah.
Kim. But
Yeah.
when she was like, "Oh, it's a natural," I think she said like a natural
It's like
barrier or something like
nebula
that.
Yeah.
gas.
Nebula,
nebula
yeah,
gas,
something
yeah.
like that.
everything.
Yeah.
So like, it's starting
But-
to make some sense.
But it's not, though, because they are those little red dots going on around the planet. If you look closely, you'll
Yeah,
see
I remember
them.
I was that picture.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's a mixture. I think it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Like,
if you
I think it's-
remember-
I think it's partially natural, and they like reinforced it.
Yeah. Now, you guys all pretty much went through the Clone Wars animated series, right? So
Yeah.
you're all familiar with it. the episode with the world of 1,000 worlds, the whole, Anakin mentions it specifically. There are angels on whatever planet it was, and it was referring to that world of 1,000 worlds, and that's the one where there was all the satellites, and Obi-Wan and Anakin get stuck on the planet, and they can't leave the planet without the satellites destroying any ship that left the planet. And even though ships can freely leave, we've never seen a spaceship on this planet. So the fact that satellites could very well create this cover and a blanket over the planet to hide it, and its population is also a possibility there. So that's another theory that is kind of floating around out there.
That's interesting.
Anyway, but that's with that. Let's see what else there is. Let's go to the shipyards for a second. So we get a whole lot more ships going on. The whole design of it, everything like that's fantastic. Where's that image that I dropped? The last one I dropped. Oh yeah, it's a little further on actually. I'll do it during the escape. I just the production design on this actual planet's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. You can tell. You can tell they spent money, and it's not just like I like the props, I like the alien designs.
Oh, totally. All the practical stuff too. We got so much practical. I mean, so even much, Neil. And we saw some video online about the puppetry this week, and Neil's whole headpiece is a puppet. They use the kid with the remote and all that to get the expressions. And they use the puppet face for the stunt double, who moves around in it to keep and all that, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's so neat. The creature designs are just awesome. It feels like every alien we see is either like something totally unique and something to look at, or something we've seen before, but we see it. Maybe it's from live, like from animation, and now we're seeing it, or something we haven't seen since the '80s, like Brutus. 70s. So it's been really cool to see all the creatures they're pulling. It feels very Star Warsy. It feels like there's no shortage of
that entire
aliens.
area is very
hands down
Star Wars area, like the kind of the cantina, like the Mos Eisley.
Literally.
So like exactly but just a bigger scale.
The entire
giant.
This entire place, there is a name for it, and I completely forgot to copy down the name of it. But the actual place reminds me of like Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. If you've ever seen the Pirates. The Caribbean. And we have Julie. How's it going, Julie? Woo! Yay!
What up?
Yay! So we're just breaking down the episode, but let's pause for a second. Julie, what are your thoughts on episode 3?
I felt like it was exactly where we had figured it was going to pick up on the last time.
Yep. Sure.
I think that definitely. I thought it was interesting how we were kind of going to be like, oh, is this Jod dude Silvo, and they just kind of gave it to us right off the bat.
Right.
And I just loved learning more of how much these kids don't know about the galaxy. And it's just a bigger mission than we thought.
Yeah, no, totally. It was also just a fun, action-packed episode, which in a Star Wars way, because we had space fights, we had dog fights, we had really cool stuff going on with this episode.
Yep.
So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, the escape, guys. We get the great grand escape. We see Jod using some Force skills. Up until last week, we weren't too sure whether or not he really was a Force user. He's definitely a Force user, but he's as he said in this, he's definitely not a Jedi. So, any further thoughts as to what he may be? What is? I doubt he's a Sith, but where do you think we might land on Jod's character with the Force and how he manipulates it and uses it for his purposes?
Well, considering his age, I would definitely say either he's a Padawan, who either like left the Order or like before 66, or like he was just a survivor from 66 and kind of just
went through the path or something like that.
He kind of just making ends meet. He had to do what he had to do to survive, so that's what led him through down towards the path of piracy.
That was our thought last week too. I mean, is he like a Balin Scroll type character who, again, was? I mean, Balin was older and was an actual Jedi, but left and abandoned. Is he the Kanan Jarrus kind of thing? And if
Right,
Kanan
because
went
the same
bad,
thing where he's like said like too, like how he's like, I'm just like you, I'm alone kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
he was alone, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. That's what kind of giving me an idea. Like,
when he said that, because I was thinking he can either be a like a Kanan Jarrus character, or maybe he was just been alone his whole life and just really strong with the Force. Maybe he has no teaching. Maybe he just figured it out. He seems like he's a very adaptable person.
People have said that, but sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'm with Emmanuel on this one. I think we've seen it with Kanan. We've seen it with Cal Kestis in the Jedi games.
Yeah.
We've seen this trope of, Padawan Order 66 survived. Like, now they're older and they know the Force. Like, I feel like we've just seen it done so many times that I feel like they're not going to go that same direction again.
Yeah,
I think it's more so he's just a kid that was alone and probably has been alone for a long time, but has this connection to the Force. Because the way he talks about the Force too, it's like he talks about it.
He doesn't know anything.
As if it's like something that he's heard of like before,
Literally,
but not something that he's like studied in.
Didn't we get one of the animated Visions episodes with a child and connected with the Force, but didn't realize that she was connecting with the Force? I think it was the one with the vocals, the singing character in season 2 or something.
Maybe.
There was. If it's, I want to see. Yeah, you're right. I agree. I do want to see a different story rather than this being a once was a Jedi Padawan, and see how that plays out. But it's gonna be
I
cool.
think it'll be cool because you can tell that Judd is very resourceful. And he's adaptable. Like especially him being alone his whole life. Like.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just had if you had connection to the Force and you didn't know how to use it, but he's using it only for small things, like how he turned off the lights.
Oh yeah, nothing big,
and that he's not using it. So I feel like he doesn't, because I feel like if he had powers, like if he was a Padawan or something like Kanan Jarrus could fully manipulate, like he can force pull, force grab. Like I feel like he can. So we'll see, but that's my guess.
Yeah. Julie, any thoughts?
I think that he is either someone, because to me it's like Jod doesn't look like he doesn't understand children, which makes me think that he doesn't really never really had that childhood kind of in general. So I think he definitely either was, if not part of the Jedi, definitely part of something that made him need to be a survivor from the very beginning and never have time to be a kid.
Yeah, just and built up on the Force skills that he could learn from. Maybe he did like Wynn did, read books and eventually self-teach himself as a possibility too. Yeah, who knows? That could be an interesting concept.
Foreshadow for Wynn.
Yeah. Wrong one. But hang on a second. So going through. Sorry, I was going to say we go through. The kids manage to escape with Jod. We basically move it really quickly, and then the whole conversation came up with SM-33 not needing to be part of the crew, and go get him and that sort of stuff. So we get a couple of really cool familiar droid moments on this moment when Jod goes back. We get.
Did we win?
Huh?
When he said the droid was like, "Did we win?
Did we win? Oh yeah, the battle droid. Yeah. The battle droid was great. I wish there was more of it. I was more invested about the protocol droid who's going on about the prince. And there was this whole little moment of this. He turns on this protocol droid. It's like, we must save the prince, and it's like, I want to know what's going on there. That's kind of a cool story.
Yeah, the prince is probably gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then
that's it.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. And then of course we end up by getting SM-33, but on his way out, he has this great little encounter with this Ishtib. And did you guys see the actor who played his voice?
I did. I did indeed.
Yes. Yeah.
Alfred Molina. Yeah. Was the voice. Yes, exactly. From
that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. He voiced the Ishtib, which was kind of a cool moment. We tend to get the sense that SM-33 is kind of not kind of happy with Jod, doesn't like Jod very much. So I like that he's kind of clued in as well. Like he's on the same level as the kids now, in my opinion. SM-33 being the droid, as such. Yeah. Anyway,
I like his spunk when Judd turned him on. He was like, "Are you SM-33?" And he was like, "Depends. Who's asking?"
Yeah. Yes.
Like, oh, no, that's so funny. I love that.
Now, those some great lines. I mean, Nick Frost is playing that character so well.
Oh yeah.
And voicing the character very well. And again, another practical. He's full puppet.
Yeah, I saw like the little the behind the scenes thing of the puppet. It's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I love how they're doing everything, man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to point out before we move too far on is something that does lead credence to the theory that maybe he was around during the time of Order 66 is his disdain for droids. Like he does not want to go get SM-33. Sure. He doesn't like going into that droid room. Like he's constantly feels like he's beefing with SM-33.
Yes.
And maybe he has some correlation to the Clone Wars with the droid army, and
makes sense.
Maybe something happened to him as a child. Yeah, so I'm thinking it could be another Din situation where something happened to him as a child where he has this disdain for droids.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing about this show, though. It's giving us layers of stories that these characters have got something deeper, below the surface, and they're doing it very well. And we're getting a lot of, great. Sorry, I'm just checking out the chat. Sorry, SM-37. I don't get that one, but of course SM-33 being Smee, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we're getting a lot of great little stuff with the characters and little hints of something suspicious or something about the backstory. We had this really great moment. This whole chase sequence where they basically, as we mentioned at the beginning, bust the wire. We've got all these ships in the shipyard. Did you guys see that the Star Tour ship, was actually in the bottom corner there, which was kind of cool. What's his name? Gord's ship, or the design of the ship was in there. And then just other Star Wars ships from way back. We mentioned last week, of course, the original Millennium Falcon design is one of those designs of the ships in there. So I love the depth of how big this place really is and how big of a threat these pirates could be to the galaxy. And obviously the New Republic really kind of don't even know where they're at that we're aware of. So we've got this whole thing going on there, which is really cool.
Yeah, Mando season 3 kind of set up that they're not taking the pirates seriously. Like when they were trying to get the New Republic for help, and they're like, we don't really, like, that's not our priority right now. Yeah. So it's kind of like the pirates are building themselves up while they're not paying attention, and I'm sure they'll have to deal with it eventually.
Right. Yeah. No, it's again, it's like it feels like Star Wars of old. It feels like this is going back to, almost. I mean, well, it's this weird, nice in between the First Order and stuff. I'm glad we're not dealing with the First Order in this particular show. Is what I don't feel like we're gonna be hinting anywhere towards that. I just feel like it's a good old fashioned Star Wars adventure.
I honestly feel like we're gonna get a lot more Old Republic stuff in this show than anything, because of all the I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about it, but when Kim was analyzing the seal on her backpack, and she was just like, oh Republic, and she was just going ham on it. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna pull off and see if anything ties in with James Mangold's movie, because isn't he doing like something pre?
Yeah, but he's going 25.
He's going way back.
He's going way back to the beginning of the Jedi.
The first Jedi.
I remember right. It's supposed to be like the first Jedi.
Like Tython,
like Tython level Dawn of the Jedi stuff.
Yeah.
So
way back. Yeah.
Damn.
That's.
I want to see Darth Revan, man, already, bruh.
Yeah. There's this.
Reeves.
There's this point between Acolyte and the old Republic that kind of needs. I want it to be filled in more. I want to see the that transition period happen on film somehow. Basically, lots of gags, lots of cool things. The giant cable snapping, as we mentioned, snapping back on the on the pirate compound was just a great action sequence. A lot of the camera choices, a lot of the lighting choices, everything has been really spot on, I feel, in this show. Just fun stuff.
I wonder how many people that Cable killed.
At least two of them got snapped out of existence.
Yeah. Put in work, bro.
Oh yeah, it was
just crazy seeing the damage. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Which goes more into like the pirate theme too, because that happens with like big ships sometimes. So they snap the cables when it gets people.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the same time, it's also ramming out the way it took out the other ships as they were coming towards, stuff like that. Everything was great in that scene. It literally had just these old ship vibes, even though it was Star Wars and sci-fi. It had just this really great escape scene. What was I going to say? Actually, I'm going to jump in here for a second. So basically, we've got this whole banter going back and forth, about Jod and all that sort of stuff. Especially when he said, "Oh, this I should have put in earlier." I'm sorry. We've got this whole banter about basically the kids going up against the Jedi. Going up against the. Sorry, I'm tired. I've been working.
It's not good, but
I'm actually more tired than I thought. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be babbling. If I babble, cut in, please. But you do actually get this whole sequence here with Jod referring to the Jedi saying "No man is left behind," which the Jedi never do actually say that. And then that it's a droid and that sort of stuff. I think there's definitely nothing honorable in Jod as a character. I think he's
a scoundrel, man.
He's a scoundrel, yeah.
And we love it.
Very much a me first kind of guy. Like, I'm doing whatever I could get it.
And I think that'll be his arc throughout the show. I think as he grows to spend more time with the kids, so he'll grow to be more empathetic. And by the end of the show, I think we're going to be seeing a very different Jod. So
yeah, I mean, where is there room for that kind of character in the galaxy now is the other question. He's not quite Jedi. He won't ever become a Jedi. But we end up with a cool scoundrel character that we can get many stories from. Which
a Force-sensitive Han Solo.
That's basically it. Yeah. So again, we go back to this whole conversation with Jod on the ship. I like the fact when he pulled out this knife from the pirate. There was this whole thing going on there that I feel like he knows what this ship's about. Because he pulled the knife out of the pirate, looks at the knife, and out of the pirate eye from the dead body that we saw from the week before. Do you think he has a clue what this ship is and what the deal is, or do you think it's just simply he's more curious about Adam and getting to the planet?
Me personally, I thought he was just looking for clothes. I thought he was looking for like a new fit.
He was too.
I don't know. I think me personally, I think the ship that they're on is much older than Jod.
Right.
I think the ship that they're on is much older. So I don't think he knows anything about the ship. This is me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really get the sense that he knows what's going on with the ship. I think like Emmanuel said, is way older than he is.
Right.
I think more so him looking at the pirate was, and I've heard this take online, so this isn't an original take, but I've heard that like it's like a self-reflection. Like he like he was looking at that pirate like, oh, if I keep doing what I'm doing, that's who I'm gonna be. Like I'm gonna end up dead with a sword through me. So I don't think he knows exactly what's going on the ship.
Yeah.
I think he was just lingering there, reflecting on himself more so.
Fair enough. Exploring.
I think he does know what the ship is, because especially what Kim said, how like Adam's really only known as like through like legends and like pirate shanties.
Right.
And how like she brought out like the pirate shanties and like he's a pirate. So I'm pretty sure like there might because it is known like it's supposed to be like a legendary pirate and like kind of like the El Dorado of like space. Kind of.
Well, I mean, you could also go with the not the Black Pearl, the what's Captain second the second Pirates of the Caribbean film, Davy Jones's ship or the that kind of thing, perhaps.
Yeah, but like how they're saying like that, so he might know like he's like, if these kids are really what they're saying, like there might be some like old like pirate legend or like shanty about like a lost ship that actually made it to Adam,
to the planet.
The crew was lost forever.
Yeah.
The crew was lost forever. So like he's like, if these kids are really what they're saying, this is like the legendary like pirate crew that actually made it to the like kind of like area, like the El Dorado.
Makes
Yeah, that's
sense.
the thing. It's like the El Dorado of space.
Yeah, makes sense. The stories had to get out somehow, I guess. So someone's probably survived, as that happened in Goonies. What are we looking? So yeah, basically the whole conversation here between Jod and SM33, where basically SM33 basically is just like, I don't trust you, and didn't even give a like. It just, there's some great stuff with that scene.
Yeah, when he stands up, he's scared.
Yeah,
I was scared. I was like, oh,
I know.
please.
And he was like, At first,
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna like kind of do like some type join forces, pirate to pirate. But when he first started, when he was tapping him, and
Yeah.
he was like,
Yeah. Yes.
He's loyalty's captain.
Yeah.
Loyalty's captain.
Yeah. Yeah, those some funny moments.
Loyalty, man. I like Snee's loyalty.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Chris.
I also like I mean, this is just like, the kids really weren't even the main focus on this.
The goat right
but
there.
That's
what I'm saying, bro. He's
Goat.
So good. But the kids again just were so good. I thought KB had a great moment, a couple of moments here between her and Jod as well. The fact that there's a technical side of her brain that ticks and works. That's like, you know, yeah, we definitely don't trust you, but at the same time, it's like, I'm keeping my eye on you. I think she's going to be like that flaw to his plan. I think she's the technical one that really could actually do that. And all
I like how she brought up the probabilities. So she's not even like, all the other kids are like, I don't know, it's just a feeling. Yeah. And she was like, it's statistically improbable that you're a Jedi. Like, it's not just a feeling I have. I crunched the numbers. It's not likely.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps us guessing too. I mean, you know, Judge still could be a con artist, but the only reason I say I don't think he is, I think he is the Force, because you do actually hear the Force actually in there. Hang on a second, guys. We've got Ronan Unchained. How's it going, Ronan?
Oh, man.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Oh, the goatee. I like it.
Sorry, thank you. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right.
Managing stuff around. Do I sound good? Sound good?
You're good. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do this again quickly. Ronan, what did you think of the episode?
I had a blast. It's probably my favorite episode, just because we know more, or just as much as the kids. Yeah. And yet you're like, nah, I don't want to just go back home. I want to figure out this mystery as hell. And now I'm finally on the level ground as everybody. Everybody's caught up. Yeah. I don't know more than y'all.
That's it. But you saw the first 3 episodes from screeners, right?
I was very fortunate to do that, and it was like, okay, I don't want to mention anything about the Old Republic or Owls, 2 friends of mine now, until they start to And I said that like Neo, SM33, and now Kim are like 3 of my new favorite characters, and like I need fuck Funkos. I need a maquette. I need a
Funko of Neo.
Action figures. Yeah.
I told you Neo's
Can't wait for
man.
the Neo. There gotta be one.
Yeah, I adore this episode, and
I saw the 6-inch Neo action figure in the store this week. I was like, it's actually really good. It's the face sculpt is really, really detailed.
Is it just me, or I feel like Wim took a big backseat in this episode? I feel like he didn't do that much.
Yeah, you're right.
Compared to the first 2, I think
they
did allow like
pushing him towards him to be like the
and like KB kind of stepped up a little bit too. So they all got their moments. But
they all got their moments. Yeah.
Me too. I was gonna say I kind of like how they're doing the Stranger Thing, because I feel like even the Stranger Things, everybody gets their arcs and their time to shine. So I like that. Yeah, but it's still propelling the story along, and it still has this complete Star Wars vibe that just has nailed it more so than other shows, in my opinion. So I think there's that Star Wars vibe of that fun and silliness. I think more than anything, when I sit back and think about it, I feel like I am a kid again, and I feel like they poke at the right memories of your childhood, of who you were as a kid and why, and it could be related to anything. It could be Batman or Superman or whatever. But why did we like Star Wars as a kid? If you got into Star Wars as a kid, it pulls at those vibes of what our childhood was
like and what that meant to us at the time. And I feel like that is, that's what I get from it, at least. So, from the show.
I love the, how do I put it? I'll put it to you this way. As a kid, I grew up with the prequels, but I didn't really, my head wasn't still processing all that. This is a trilogy. And oh, by the way, the guy you've been following this whole time, he's the bad guy that you grew up watching the old movies and whatnot. And so between those years, which again, 3 years per, a film every 3 years, felt like a kid's lifetime. And so you would find something like the Prince trilogy of novels that are very, very kiddish, but yet you were filling up the missing pieces of like, okay, what happened after Endor and what would happen after these small pieces and whatnot. And I love that, like, again, new characters, a new side of Star Wars that I'm not familiar with. Even the Easter eggs, because you're a nerd and whatnot. But I love that it's. I think somebody said it. Was probably Julie or somebody that like, season 1 where we didn't know what the hell we were going to get.
What was going on? Yeah.
But here's my bigger question is that, people are complaining about some of the Star Wars shows not being Star Wars enough, and other of the ones they're saying they want more adult stuff and all this. But this show not just hits those nostalgia moments, but they hit them well, and it works. And do you guys feel that we need a bit more of what they are outputting from this show in every other Star Wars show that's, yet to come, and movie that's yet to come? Do we feel like we're missing that too much? And that's why, you've got such a diverse audience about what they think about these shows. Do you think that a little bit of this nostalgia could help amp up, say, something like Kenobi a little more if they used a bit more of it, or not? I mean, I don't know. Give me some thoughts, guys.
I think it's kind of like interesting because I definitely think they tried it in Kenobi with a lot of the mirrored dialogue and just everything with like Leia and her relationship with Obi-Wan.
Right.
I love it in Skeleton Crew, and I think the reason it works is because it's new characters that give us a familiar feeling.
Okay.
Versus having familiar people
say the same thing.
Familiar again. Exactly. Which is why I think it didn't work in Kenobi, because it felt like cash grab, it felt cheesy. Here it's genuine because we don't know them, but we feel like we know them.
Yeah.
And we felt like them as a kid, so we kind of would hear it, but in our own minds play it out.
Yeah, we feel like we know them, and we also feel like we are them. So they're good.
Exactly. Like we see ourselves in them. That being said, though, I do think that we fall into that trap of only looking for nostalgia that hurts new stories as well, like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Me personally, I don't think we need nostalgia. I think we just need a good story. Yeah. We need a beginning. We need how can I say this from like a creative perspective? We need kind of like the hero's journey type thing. Like, we need more of that Joseph Campbell, because we got it in the beginning of Star Wars, the 4 through 6, but now they're playing on nostalgia too much instead of like, I feel like they're playing on nostalgia in Skeleton Crew, but they're not. They're taking us back to our childhood. Not like it's very Star Wars, but I'm also getting a lot more. We keep referring to other shows or other stuff. It's not just Star Wars specifically. We're getting like the
But Star Wars though was the old Buck Rogers, and it was the old Flash Gordon series.
Yeah,
so
that's
you really
that's
have
true.
that nostalgia from a different generation.
It's because I feel like because it is a Star Wars show, but we're also getting like the plot. I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't use nostalgia for everything. Just like I'm big into anime, and I feel like anime has it like down packed of how to create a story that's compelling in that in different genres, whether it be everything. But I think I like what they're doing with Skeleton Crew. I think they just need to have a really good story and lovable characters, pretty much, and then I think it will propel it forward for sure.
Yeah, I think nostalgia, while we're on the topic of nostalgia works. Nostalgia is good. It's not always a bad thing. I think when people complain about nostalgia, they're complaining about these cameo fests that we keep getting in all these projects, whether it's a Star Wars project like Mandalorian season 2 and 3 trying to just show us everything, like, oh, you know this thing, right? Like, you like this thing. Whether it's
even in Rogue One when we see,
whether it's like the multiverse stuff going on, where they're just like, this is the thing that you like, you know this. But it's more so, I think we prefer that nostalgic feeling, not necessarily just thing you like from long ago, but that feeling you had long ago. So it's more of the nostalgic feeling, not just the nostalgic characters and the nostalgic.
Yeah, I feel like the feeling is what's hitting me the most.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, Ronan was about to say something.
Yeah, to me, it's nothing's wrong with nostalgia, as long as it's helping something and not trying to plastic like, you remember this? We're gonna resell it to you in a few months if you're lucky to be at the right shop and whatnot. To me, not everything can be like Andor. The quality and the freshness, and how you putting it even this way, the cojones to take that route with that show. We need more of that energy and vibe, even though there's different levels of being a fan. And so if everything was like Andor, then Andor wouldn't be that unique.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
It wouldn't be that unique of a thing, if you will. So I think that the galaxy, that universe is so unique, special that, again, I've been saying this, we just have tipped the iceberg, just a little bit of it, the potential where we can go with it. And I feel like something like Mando is just as valid as the original trilogy, and something like Close of the Jedi is just as valid as something as the Revenge of the Sith or the Last Jedi or Rogue One. To me, everything should be unique, and the more you try new stuff, the fresh you'll keep the franchise, and you'll bring in new stuff. An underrated show, Visions, in my opinion, I can imagine the anime culture, the anime fan base that is brought on.
Yeah, bro. I love Vision, bro.
We need to express ourselves through anime, through the lens of stuff outside the US in this galaxy that is supposed to be for everybody. And I think that maybe not everything's hit for us, and maybe those who are very particular about characters, and when they're presented and they don't hit, it hits them in a way and might spew a lot of discussions around the community and whatnot. Like, for example, I had high expectations for Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett because I grew up with it.
Right. I think we all did. Yeah.
No, 100%.
High expectations towards Acolyte, towards Skeleton Crew, to Andor, frankly, and yet I've seen the perspective and freshness of all those shows. Now, to be clear, Andor and Skeleton Crew are bounds leap of a lot of those shows, but again, that's my cup of tea, and so I feel like everybody has that perspective, and we shouldn't just be used to the same formula. Try new stuff. That's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And kind of to go on top of what Ronan was saying, it's funny because, like, especially going to school for art, we study a lot of George Lucas in my animation class. And man, when I tell you, George Lucas was, when Ronan said the cojones, George Lucas had the biggest cojones. Like, he literally wasn't getting funded by nobody. He took his money from American Graffiti, and then used it towards Star Wars. Like, he was like, I'm not gonna I'm gonna make my vision. I'm gonna create something new. Use paints. He used all these type of mediums. Like, that's original. Like, and he created Star Wars.
But on top of it, Lucas also ended up by really going deep into mythology. He went into dogfights on film and edited them together. He went into mythology and the hero's journey, and sometimes people bring something to the table and they're just missing that little bit of a spark that George Lucas had. Now, people can complain as much as they like about the prequels compared to the original trilogy. A lot of people do complain about the prequels, but the thing is that they gave us a very different set of films. It didn't carbon copy the original trilogy, and it gave us something different. And we can pick at it. We can say that the acting was a little weird here, or the direction was not quite right, but George Lucas did give us something very different and very original, and still based it off of pulling from, from history itself. He pulled information from history. He's an amazing historian when you really look at the way he understands film, and you don't get that from filmmakers a lot. But that's my thoughts on it too. There, any other thoughts? We'll get back into it otherwise. All right.
No, I think you're down on the money.
I think we hit all the points.
Yeah. George was very, very creative. It feels like I enjoy the sequel trilogy personally. I know a lot of people, it's not their cup of tea, but I can admit that the sequel trilogy is very much trying to be the original trilogy, like, again, in a new way.
Yeah.
But
it was missing that little bit of George Lucas, though. You have to admit.
Yeah, it's missing that originality, because it feels like it's something we've seen before, even if it's something that it's a new take on it. It's still something we've ultimately seen before.
And they were fun. I enjoyed them, but at the same time, I think I can nitpick the sequels a little bit more that were done. As well, the sequels, kind of thing. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think, like Ronan's been saying, is just one of the few projects that we've seen, I think, since the prequels that has really had that level of originality is Andor. I think Andor is something completely fresh, nothing we've seen before, and I think that's why it resonated so well with so many people, myself included. So
season 2 this coming year. It's like 6 months time actually, almost. So getting back on, sorry, Julie?
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
We have to respect what he built and the legacy is, but I don't want people, and I hear it all the time that it's not George Lucas, it's the only Star Wars or not, and like I don't want to bring him back out of retirement and just have him do Star Wars the whole time. I'm like him, and I think it was his intention was when he sold the company, is that like, okay, and I would have thought that like for the sequels, okay, just wrap up, if you're gonna continue with these characters from the previous, wrap up that. Plan it out for at least for Christ's sake, and then after that, anybody can come in, learn the rules, and yet give us their funk, which is what I want. Even though Deborah Chow directed all of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it wasn't my fully cup of tea, I want her back in directing. Bryce Dallas Howard directed my least favorite episode of season 3 of Mando, but guess what? I want her back in directing. I want these new creatives to be like, give me your funk and whatnot. Robert Rodriguez.
The one that
Rob Boba Fett in a very kick-ass way. I saw the series that he was a producer on. He didn't write everything, but he was part of it. As a whole, wasn't my cup of tea, but I would want Robert Rodriguez back to continue expanding upon that, and just sometimes. And I think the company should always be like, you are Star Wars. You don't have to rush everything. You have a fan base in your pockets already. It's like, take your time with this stuff and
do the research. Do the research. I think is a big thing. I mean, one of my favorite directors of all the shows who pops in and out is Rick. What's the name? I can't pronounce the name. I'm so bad. But he really gets it. He understands his camera shots, and apparently he's the nicest guy on set as a director, from what I've heard from people. I love it when his stuff comes up, because you always know you're going to get the vibes of Star Wars in that episode. Maybe not the overall series of a show, but when he's directing something, you get the feeling he has done his research to George Lucas. And I feel like, and in what George Lucas followed and did, and I feel like that's very important. There's a lot of directors who will go and do their own thing and tailor their own ideas, and it's not necessarily about your own ideas as much as it is about making it feel like Star Wars that George Lucas created. Anyway, let's jump back to the moon. So we get ourselves on this really cool, obviously on the volume moon stuff, which was, I thought, still pretty cool. Before we jump there was one thing I really, really liked as they got out of the ship and they were having a little conversation. This giant claw that is a cargo claw. That's going to be used for something later down the track. Like, that was just like
Chekhov's gun right there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like that was set up for a reason. They wouldn't have had the Wim kind of sitting on this thing as it is there, and he's like, put it away, kind of thing. It's like just the cargo claw. And it's like, yeah, that's a setup. I like that.
Also, like another thing, like with them coming into the moon, like the music that was playing them, like as they were coming into the moon, that
The
was
score?
it was crazy. Like it was literally like
Yeah.
an old like alien invasion movie, kind of like.
Here's
like, it felt
here's what I'm going to say about the score at this point in time. I think Mandalorian, we had what's his name? Yeah, Ludwig do the Mando theme and even the Book of Boba Fett theme, because they were very iconic pieces of music. They work so well, and I feel like we got the same with obviously
Michael,
the kindness from the Ahsoka series, but we've already heard their stuff before, so we know that. This is the first fresh score I feel like we've had since Ludwig came in, of something new, but actually just really Star Wars like in its own way, without it doing a single note from almost anything we hardly, that we already know in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous that he was getting hired because of his dad. Maybe like that's always a thought, when you have a last name like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was thinking like, let's see, like hopefully this isn't a little rough. But I mean, man, he's on a roll. It must run in his genes, because the Penguin, phenomenal score.
That's it. Yeah, he scored the Penguin.
Phenomenal score. Like he's 2 for 2. So
yeah, no, he really is. I can't wait for the soundtrack to drop. It's so good.
I think it hasn't now dropped already. I think it might have.
Usually they if they
Maybe
have
just the theme.
usually it might be just the theme. They usually drop 4 episodes and they do the first 4 episodes and they'll do the second 4. See, here's the thing, Chris. The Andor theme was fantastic, but I don't remember a single note from any part of it. There was no character scores, and I feel like
there wasn't.
The thing that John Williams did so well is he created character scores. The one thing that Kiner does is he created some great character scores. You had Ahsoka's theme, you got Ezra's theme, you got everybody had a great theme, and Star Wars needs that to propel the characters, in my opinion. It needs that, and that's why I think I had issues with Andor's. Visually fantastic, performance-wise fantastic. I feel like the score in Andor, for me, even though it worked as a score, it wasn't memorable because it wasn't character-driven like a Star Wars score, I feel like should be. That's just my personal opinion. And it's not saying anything bad about the scores in general, because I think everybody's done a unique score. But if again, Kenobi was a perfect example. I thought there's some beautiful pieces of score in there. And obviously John Williams wrote the main little theme piece at the beginning. But there was nothing memorable in that score. And Lucasfilm chose to back away from using too much John Williams. Especially when you consider a John, the centric characters are core characters, and you do need that theme from John Williams in there quite a bit, and we never really truly got that. So I think they've been hit and miss with the soundtracks, but this soundtrack is blowing me away. I cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah, man. It's not on YouTube Music. I thought it would be on YouTube Music, but
right. Yeah. No, they'll drop it. I mean, I'll probably end up by purchasing it. They usually sell it for like $11 or something like that for the first 4 seasons, 4 episodes. Sorry. So yeah. Anyway, back on the moon, the kids get into the observatory. It really was beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought.
It's like a poster. I would hang that up in my room.
Yeah.
I want
everything. Yeah, everything's
like
gorgeous.
The banner. Oh.
Yeah. Nah, it's so gorgeous. I love this observatory. I mean, for me, it had very similar. I think first thing I reacted to was like, this feels like Olgra's castle from the Dark Crystal, if you've ever seen that film. And that literally was just my first reaction. Is I've got this old. If you haven't seen it, it's a Jim Henson Muppet film. But Olga is this old lady with this huge like scope to the universe kind of thing, and what's it called? A telescope and everything to the universe. So I thought that was kind of cool. And our character is Kim, who is also a wonderfully built puppet. And yeah, I thought she was a great addition to a character. What are your thoughts on this character, guys?
Yeah, I
Very
mean, maybe
fitting
aside from
for
I
Neil,
love your character.
it's one of my favorite.
Go ahead.
It might be my second favorite design in the show, besides Neil.
Yeah.
I think her design fits her vibe so perfectly as a character too.
Yeah.
Like that just
Yeah.
feels like correct. It just feels right to me.
The wise old owl is literally what she is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. But with a bit of street smarts, she's
And it seems like she cares. She cares about the kids.
yeah.
And I don't know if you guys caught it, but isn't it funny? I thought it was funny when the kids were like, "Oh, they seen the X-wings," and then they were like, "Oh, the goons." Like they don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
They don't
they thought they were-
understand that those are.
They literally
guys.
call them the goons. Yeah, literally. I was dying laughing when they did that.
I mean, that, again, jumping ahead here, but just that whole sequence of the kids being conned and shooting at the X-Wings.
Yeah.
By the way, you can see those kids are having so much fun sitting inside.
Bro, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. It'd be so
I
much
was getting
fun.
a big gun and I was able
Yeah,
to shoot it.
that's
Of course,
it.
I would have so
When
much
was
fun.
like,
When women hit him, I hit one.
That plays
Yeah.
more into like the nostalgia and just that home feeling that the show has, because like that's literally us. When we saw Luke do that in A New Hope, like we wanted to do that.
Yeah, well, but it goes back to when we first are introduced to women and Neil back in the first episode. They hold the imaginary lightsabers from their books, and it takes me back, as I said, because we never had toy lightsabers back then at the time. Well, we did, but they weren't that great. But we never had one; they were too expensive and stuff like that. But there was you would use imaginary lightsabers to fight. It was so much fun. So yeah, Kim has this interesting attachment to the kids there. She's telling them there was a little. This goes to a bit of, I want to say, a bit of sloppy writing where Kim's like, "Don't trust him, kids, but go with him," kind of thing, and that's kind of what did happen. And so it was a little weird. I wish they cleaned up the writing in that particular scene a little bit better. First she's saying don't trust him, but then go with him, but make sure he doesn't do anything stupid or whatever. And it was just this weird in between. But she pulls out some really cool stuff like this old map, and the funny thing about this, it kind of reminds me of the parents at the beginning in that in their house. There's just little vibes of the design elements interlocking about the planet and the architecture and the design, even the city central. If you look at the above shot, you see the circular part of the city and stuff like that. So there's elements within the production design that are going on there that are also related to all of their little, trinkets and maps. We've got, as Julie mentioned before, Fern's pin badge that, the mother had there, which is kind of was broken down by Kim and kind of analyzed and stuff like that. I don't think I've seen anything like this in any part of the design of the Old Republic before either. It doesn't ring a bell from anything.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, but now that the Old Republic's legends, they could completely change that time period. So
totally, yeah.
It's completely kind of an unknown.
Yeah. And then just jumping through. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to finish up here. But
I was really expecting to
X-Wings.
see Carson Teva in this scene for some reason.
No, huh?
No, I thought
what?
I was like convinced. I was convinced because they weren't showing who was in there at first, and I was convinced. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Carson Teva in the X-Wing."
And the voice does kind of sound similar. It's a little similar. So I was like, when at first I was like, "Is it going to be him again?" And then like they showed just like, "Oh, no."
I've seen enough people's reactions now over this past week, though, and Ronan, you can agree with this, I'm sure, that if Carson Tether was the only X-Wing pilot to be everywhere, it would get a little weird, wouldn't you think? That's like, why is it always Carson?
Just one guy.
Is he the only one who gets involved in these situations?
They weren't wrong with them being very short-handed.
That's it.
Ron, I don't know if something's wrong with your mic, but I know when we're talking, for some reason it cuts off your mic.
Oh,
yeah, I know you've been one a bit. Well, I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody. Well, we were talking.
It's very quiet.
He's very quiet. I could hear it. It's very quiet though.
Ronan. Sorry, Ronan, you were saying?
Carson Teva is the best X-Wing pilot in the history of Star Wars.
Definitely.
Played by the great Paul Sung-Lee. Yeah,
it's the lore.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, we get a couple of X-Wings painted blue, which is part of the old original design color before they went red. That was because of blue screen purposes, apparently. The original design was blue and white, and the blue screen on the models messed up with the blue on the design, so they changed them to red for the New Hope and all that, which was an interesting little fact there. But yeah, what else is there? We've covered most of it at this point. Again, just that final little shot there. They jump into light speed again and make their escape. I can't say enough about how I'm enjoying just the excitement of feeling like being a kid watching this show, and I think that is the general consensus. And do we think that this show alone is going to put Star Wars back on the right track for all the naysayers that are out there? Are they even watching? I mean, I haven't really read too many reviews about people being negative about this show.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to.
I'm not too sure.
I don't think it's gonna be like a groundbreaking level, but I think it's gonna bring like more like, okay, yeah, there's still good products coming out of.
Right.
Yeah, foot in the right direction.
Yeah.
So we need.
I think the people that are on this Star Wars is terrible now, sell the company like that level of like it's not unsavable. I don't think this is going to be the project to save to bring them back. But I do think it's doing something even more important, and that's going to the younger audience. If it's can't reach those people that are already too they're done with Star Wars already, this isn't going to win them back, but it will help create new fans that are younger and will grow up and will hopefully
this will be their generation.
Yeah.
It's, to be frank, I'm going to come off as the wild Latino cousin. In some regards, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
If folks can get into it, if they hate it, and it's destroying their childhood, there's Dune, there's House of the Dragon. Go to HBO. If you're going through that, if you got the vapors going on, if you're going through the phase, go to HBO. And to me, I like to think I have range in my consumer of entertainment. If I'm into the shows or the movies, there's comic books and novels. And if not, there's video games and there's music. And so I feel that maybe you might not dig it right now, but in hindsight, this will, if they stick the landing, have a lasting impact. And I think what's good about a series is rewatchability. Yeah,
that's it. Well, right now the cool thing is I think everybody seems to be enjoying, at least everybody who could, question things and all that, including myself. I will sit and question things when I feel like I need to question them, but I'm loving this. I mean, I'm enjoying every episode so far. We're 3 episodes in of 8, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Any last thoughts, guys? Any guesses as to where they're going to end up next week?
I forget where they even won.
Huh?
Go ahead, Julie. Go ahead. No, you might answer my question. So I forgot where they were going.
What did you say?
Sorry.
I said I forgot where they were going next episode.
They were given that punch card that was supposed to be like the thing, but I'm thinking that the coordinates are going to be wrong because supposedly that's supposed to be bringing them back home, but I don't think it's bringing them back home.
I think she lied. I think she lied. I think she printed out the wrong coordinates on purpose. She doesn't trust him. She told them not to trust him.
Okay.
So I kind of think why would she knows that he's untrustworthy. Why would she print out the correct coordinates to give to him? So I feel like maybe she pulled a fast one. He said she was going to stab him in the back.
Okay.
So I kind of think she lied. That's kind of the vibe I'm going with.
Sorry, Joey?
It'd bring a quick end to our journey.
It would, yes.
Also, I think it has something to play off of the barrier because how they think it's natural, but kind of how you guys are saying how earlier, how there is some things to it, so maybe it is not natural. So them saying how it might have this natural barrier, whittles it down, but actually, unpurposely, they actually got rid of a planet that they're supposed to be going to, kind of.
That's why I go back. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's kind of like like a Hamunaptra situation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the mummy, but I feel like there might be like an equivalent of the Magi that are protecting it, maybe from it being discovered. Yeah. And maybe that, because like I know when the first episode came out, we saw that there was like lights in the barrier that kind of made it look man-made, and so maybe that's what it is. That someone on the outside is trying to protect the jewels that are hidden within. But
it's Sidious.
Well, as I was saying before, you know, the Clone Wars episode, The World of a Thousand Worlds, where Anakin and Obi-Wan get stuck under a barrier, and they can't leave without being shot down. But the barrier covers the entire planet. It feels like, and of satellites basically. And I still feel we've got that kind of vibe going on here. It's just there as a cloud cover to create a false illusion. But for the purpose, I have no idea. I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. And also, go ahead, Rob.
Oh no, go for it. No. Yeah.
Go ahead, Julia. I've been talking too much.
I was gonna say also on top of that, if they don't add a sequence of the pirate like alcove in Star Tours, I'm gonna feel cheated because I want to feel like I'm in that episode of Skeleton.
I want to see the pirates start shooting at the planet. I just that's gonna be I want that to happen. I want there to be like an all-out invasion of the planet through the pirate ships. I think that's gonna be an epic battle if that happens.
We would be canon then at that point.
Literally.
In the background, the port, you can catch a Star Tours ship floating in there. So
yes,
I know.
We saw that. No, that was in there.
The show,
I mean,
fun and like, I just like please stick the landing. That's all I ask.
And
I hope that if they stick the landing, because there's already people already asked this season 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, let this settle in.
Yeah.
If you do have a good enough story to bring these kids back.
They need to tie it up.
Like if not, there's nothing wrong with a self-contained story that you can tell in this time period that may or may not have connectivity and echoes to what the story is going to be for this era, but if that's the case, that's fine.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm totally fine with this being like a one-off story, just one season kind of thing. If they have a good idea of bringing a season for a season 2, then possibly, but like the way they're going,
I don't know if you guys
have good. Like
I don't know if you guys have heard, but they've been tossing around the idea of a season 2 already. Right. They said that if they were to do it, they'd do it with a big time jump, so they don't Stranger Things it, where the kids get old and the kids are still supposed to be
absolutely.
Young,
well, those kids they shot this while Ahsoka was being shot, so at the exact same time period. That was 2 years ago when the Ahsoka was being. Oh yeah. They were shooting at the same time as each other. So these kids got old very quickly, and so. They basically, it's basically they would have to pick up at some point in the future, which again I'm fine with, Anyway, guys, I think we're gonna end up by definitely parallels with Jude Law's character in Han Solo. I think that's cool. Yeah. I feel like we've been missing a smuggler, so to speak, in the Star Wars universe for some time now. I haven't.
Right. So if I'm not mistaken, his nickname or his secret name,
Jack.
Is a reference to a comic book character that was a Han Solo villain, if you will. And I remember Kyle started telling me that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Crimson Jack.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Star Wars themselves, like, it was such a deep pull that Star Wars himself, like, posted it. It was like, this is what we were referencing with it. I remember.
But you also have to, go with the fact that Kim says, calls him Silvo, as in Long John Silver. So he gets the nickname Silvo, and he gets the nickname, Crimson Jack and Jod, and so he's a man of many names. I think he's the con artist with many names. So he could. I don't think he's any of these other characters. I just think he simply ends up by taking on a persona of saying that he's, that's his name. It's no different than Ezra Bridger going, "I'm Lando" or "I'm Jabba." You've got that exact same. Yeah, that's it. Ezra Bridger did that a couple of times. He called himself both Lando and Jabba. It's like you can't get much more different, different characters and still be the con, a bit of a con of that character kind of thing. So, but either way, sorry, Chris. I want to say, if you identify with one of the characters, who is it? Okay, all right. So, do you identify with any of these characters? Chris identifies with Jod.
I say I'll be Wim. When I was a kid, I was always trying to go on an adventure and trying to go on my own fantasy land. I'm Wim, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I'm Wim too. I liked the moment. I didn't bring this up, I don't think, last week, but the moment in episode 1 where he pretty much tells the class he wants to be a Jedi. When I was in, I think, 2nd grade, I wrote on my job aspiration worksheet that I wanted to be a Jedi. When I think I just I relate with Wim heavily. That dreaming of another world and better things.
Mine was the Saiyan for some odd reason. Like I can actually be a Saiyan. I was trying to be a Super Saiyan.
No, I believed it. I thought if I just tried hard enough, the Force would come to me.
I would say I'm a cross between Wim and KB, because I like to tinker. I mean, I built miniature models as a kid. It's not necessarily the same thing. I was not electronically minded, but I had that tinkering prospect of how do I get into this, or how do I get out of this, and these scenarios. And she seems to have that mechanical collective mind. I like that. I'm enjoying that character a lot, and I think I'm glad we got a little bit more of her in this episode, but I want to see where that character goes in the future, because I feel like she's going to be the one who's going to pull them out of the worst situation. You know, in a mechanical sense, she's going to be there for that. I still don't know the development of Wim's character. I think it's going to be just a learning curve for him. Fern, I think her character is going to develop. She's a leader, but she kind of is bossy. I want to see her kind of step back from that a little bit, and we want to see Neil kind of step up to the plate too. I think, because they've all got somewhere to go with all these characters. I'm enjoying that. So, and KB has 2 mothers too, which, you know, whatever. We've seen that in the Star Wars universe. I've got no problems with any of that.
You're really focusing on that. For those who are focusing on that, it's fine. I'm more important about the kids and whether they make it home.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going to end it up there. My battery is actually low on my phone. It's about to die. And guys, thank you for joining us. And Ronan, where can we find you again?
First, thank you for the invite.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm sorry I was a little bit late, but
that's right.
You know, it's the circus.
You're good.
You can find me at Ronan Unchained on YouTube, on the socials, Blue Sky, Full Shebang. Right now, you may or may not see a reaction towards a announcement that was put up from the Game Awards. And in the meantime, Creature Commandos, Skeleton Crew, there's a lot of stuff I have cooking in the iron.
Cool. Awesome. And then, guys, the rest of you, I'm hoping you will be back next week. We'll talk about episode 4, whatever that may be all about. And to everybody out there who sat with us in chat, thanks again, guys, for sticking around. And we shall catch you all later. So, see you later, guys.
Yeah.
Doses.